Were her apologies often very much like, we both did this thing? Or is there ever a time that you can remember where she was like, I was at fault, I shouldn't have done that?
Oh, that's a good question.
No,
Mhm.
usually it was me having to say I was sorry first. Like,
Of course.
and I knew that I shouldn't even really be apologizing, but it's just like I knew that that was going to be the only way to make her not keep arguing and pushing, is to just be like, okay, I'm sorry. How do we fix this? And then she'd be like, yeah, I'm sorry that I made you feel bad. But she actually never really was sorry. I definitely know that she would be, because she always would tell me if I was my actual weight, I would be in California and I wouldn't be talking to any of you guys. And I wouldn't be I would never talk to anybody my size.
Were
Like,
you
I'm sorry.
together at this time?
Yeah. And I was like, so
Oh
basically
Whoa.
my
you would be a piece
God.
of garbage. And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, so you'd be
Wow.
shallow. And she's like, yeah.
Question is, what was the moment that you guys realized those feelings were gone for her? Like just completely gone. And did you guys act on it then, or were you guys stuck in it for a little while after?
Honestly, like all romantic feelings, it took a really long time for them to fully develop in the first place. Like, I liked her. She kind of pushed me into the relationship, because I wasn't exactly there, but she was like, well, I've got people in mind that date me. And I'm like, well, I don't want to lose you yet. So I guess we'll start dating. So then after that, it took me a while to come around and get lovey-dovey and get close, because I had my guard up anyway from past experiences. And then just like when I thought I was going to lose her, she just barreled right through, pushed me into the relationship. So my feelings came later. But then once I started having to constantly do everything by myself, is whenever my feelings just sort of left. And I just felt like I was taking care of a friend.
It was when the incident happened with Crystal and the iPod Touch, when she got mad at her over the memory size and made Crystal cry. And I told her to apologize to her. And I realized then that, one, I knew it was going to end, and I knew I wasn't having these feelings anymore. I was like, looking back on it now that I'm older, I knew that I was just scared to be alone, because I didn't know how to date. I was a kid. And two, because if she is making someone cry and being that vile over the memory size of an iPod Touch, that's crazy.
My mom was supposed to get this money from my dad's work, because it was a like a stock that had built up over the years, and it got released. So it got split up between me and my sisters. And whenever I got it, I was like thinking, I can put this back for, anything. And Amber was like, no, we need to use it for bills and stuff. And she was just like, honestly, I've paid for everything up to this point, so you kind of owe it.
Oh, hell
So,
no.
but then she also said on live, which I was wanting to talk about this at some point anyway, but her live last night, she was just like, we bought the bed. No, we bought the bed before I got the settlement. We bought the bed before my mom passed away. So we didn't get the bed from that money.
Oh, I love that.
And then she was, no, you're good. And then she's like, well, then we also took a trip to Gatlinburg. I talked to my sister this morning and asked how much we all put in for the cabin. And she said it was like 160 something. And then all we did was we went and ate at Paula Deen's. We went to a Christmas store. And then we went to Walmart and sat in the cabin for the rest of the time while my family went and did other things.
Casey, you had the birthday money story that is incredibly similar to the inheritance story.
So yeah, when I was younger, when my nana was still around, she would give me birthday money, right? And one year, this is when Birth by Sleep and Crisis Core came out. And no, not Birth by Sleep. It was Crisis Core and Kingdom Hearts game 365 Days Over 2. Weird title. And I wanted to get both of them. I had money to get both of them. I was so excited because I'm just like, yes, these two new games. I'm a big gamer nerd, anime nerd, whatnot. And we go to Best Buy and I grab the two games and I'm like, yes, I'm happy. I'm excited because this is just going to be awesome. And I just turned 17, by the way. This was my 17th birthday. And I go to pay for them and she gets a little attitude. And I'm like, well, what's wrong? And she was getting mad that I was getting both games. And God, she's just like, if you get both those games, I'm going to be so mad at you. And I was like, what? What do you mean? Like I couldn't understand. Like I was just like, but I really want to get these 2 games, like, and it's my birthday money. And I'm thinking, like, did I offend her? Did I not offer her something? And so I ended up getting 1 game. And I was so sad, but I ended up getting 1 game, and I was like, what do you like, why are you mad at me over it? I don't understand. And I didn't understand. Like, but it was now that I'm older, I was like, okay, she wanted me to use that money on her.
And a bunch of people in the chat wanted me to mention, yeah, the age he was 17.
Yeah, that was my 17th birthday.
Because you guys met when you were like 16, didn't you?
I was 15.
You were 15.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was 15 years old.
Would she like control things that you said? Like how, and if she did, like how often did that happen?
It happened all the time, especially if we were vlogging or doing like a sit down video. Like there was a lot of pausing and being like, okay, so don't say this, you can say this, you know. And then there would be other times where she's just like, why don't you try to say it more peppy? Why can't you act like you're actually having a good time? And it's like, because I've told you over and over, time and time again, I just really don't want to do these things. And she's like, okay, yeah, but you're my employee.
The Casey allegations, you know, she did talk to you, Beck, and she talked to you about it. And in her live yesterday, she had commented, she had started crying and saying, I can't believe Beck would do this. They know what he did and things like that. So yeah, I would love to hear that story and have you and Casey talk about that a bit and clear that air just a little bit, because it stinks.
Okay, yeah. I mean, whenever all of this first came out, me knowing her was very new. It was literally within like the first month or so of talking to her that the whole Casey thing had happened. Actually, I think her telling her story online came out before I even sent her a message. I had no idea about this. And whenever she actually came forward and told me about what was happening, she told me that he, you know, rape, you know, rape and pedal, eavesdrop.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, I used the wrong word. And she's like, you know, I actually meant molested.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, okay. And she said, you know, well, he would hit me if I didn't, if I didn't do what he wanted me to do.
Oh my God. That's
And it's like she also during that entire time just kept dead naming and refusing to use your pronouns. Like she was just like, even after she already knew, she was like, well, that's because it doesn't matter to me and I didn't know him that way.
Yes,
and I'm like, that doesn't matter.
No, like, so I was like, okay, you know, she knew because I said something. I didn't know the word trans, but I was like, this is how I feel. And then one day, you know, because I wanted kids for a very long time. And I told her, I don't want to be called mom or anything like that. If I have kids, I want to be called papa. And she looked at me and said, you will never be a father.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but did you just say you weren't allowed to watch the reaction channels?
Right. Yeah, no. That was my
I'm sorry, that caught my attention and it grabbed me. You weren't allowed to watch them?
No.
Oh, hell no.
So she made sure that you did not watch like Zachary Michael or any of them.
Right. Yeah, no. Like whenever she would watch it, she would just watch it by herself on her laptop. She wouldn't have me watch or anything. No, she didn't.
Did you ever try?
I knew if I would try, she would know because she kept tabs on my phone all the time.
What? Oh my God, the control. Oh my God.
So if you tried, okay, hold on, wait. Okay, I'm speechless. Okay. Unhinged is an understatement. We're not allowed to say what we really want to say. This is like different.
The
okay.
amount of words that want to come out of my mouth
right. So she would monitor your phone so you could not watch any kind of reaction channel because she would see it because she'd go into like your YouTube and she'd monitor your text messages and stuff.
Oh yeah, she would go through everything.
Oh my God,
she knew everything.
God damn.
And I couldn't go through none of her stuff.
I'll say this to like kind of touch on Beck's thing with Amber controlling the phone. She did that once, actually twice with me. I had like a little group thing on this site that went away. It was like this little anime site, and she wanted to be a part of the group. And when people wouldn't agree with her, she would be like, "Oh, I don't like them. You know, they need to be out of this group thing." That thing didn't last. It ended up tanking because it was the early 2000s. But the one thing that I remember is that one day I was getting ready for school, getting ready to go to school, and I went to school, and my friend came up to me pissed, extremely mad, and I was like, "What's wrong?" And she's like, "Did you give Amber my number?" And I was like, "No, I did. Never would I ever do that to you." Like, no, because I knew how they were. This was another friend, and I knew how they were. And when I got home from school that day, I asked Amber, "What? Like, did you get in my phone and get their number to text them?" And she admitted she did. She went in my phone, got their number, and texted them bad stuff just to drive them away from me. And so it was like, "Why aren't you messaging me here? Why aren't you messaging me there?" And there was, then I started to, when I, you know, as I was with her, I developed anxiety really, really badly. And it was just, and then she admitted to, I don't think I ever said this. She admitted to me with text messaging and everything like that, that she cheated on me with a girl in the hot tub. Like, she was in the hot tub and she made out with, you know, her school buddy, like not once, a few times. And she told me over text message. Yet if I showed any kind of getting close with anyone at school, she would get on my ass.
For sure. Like, she would, I get it. She would be so flirty with everybody. But like the second she thought that you were being flirty or anything, like, and I wasn't ever a flirty person, but it's like if she would be like if I had a female friend, do you have a crush on her or something? And I'm like, no, I'm not like you.
I know more so about the one that she remained at until she aged out, until she moved to Oklahoma.
And that's the one that like built her rooms and paid for her phone and took her to Disney World and stuff, correct?
Yeah.
Wait, took her to Disney World. She told me that she had to stay home in the garage while the house got defogged while they went to Disney World.
No.
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 No,
Oh,
never have I ever heard that.
Oh, that's what she told me.
No.
What a stupid
That
thing to
also
lie
made
about.
me so sad. That was one of the things that just broke my heart for her.
I do. I have an interesting question that somebody asked here. It's for both of you again. Has Amber ever threatened either of you behind the scenes to stay quiet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spill.
Very,
Really?
very
Yeah,
much.
still-
How so?
Follow up.
Well, I mean, definitely whenever I was like, stop talking about me or I'm going to go, you know, or I'm going to sue you, which I had no idea what I was doing. I just wanted to shut her up. And she was just like, well, if you don't talk about me, then I won't talk about you. But if you talk about me, I'll sue you too. And I'm just like, whatever. But then she wouldn't stop talking about me.
Right?
You know?
That was driving everybody nuts. It's like, lady, like, listen to your own words.
You're stabbing yourself, right? Like, I'm not holding the knife. You're doing okay. Yeah. Just keep going.
And I also felt scared because it's like, look what she did to Casey. What could she lie about on me? You know, I had no
Right.
idea. She's crazy.
That's an understatement.
She is crazy.
So
But-
yeah, I do think that she was trying to use fear as a tactic to get people to hush hush about what awful things she has done.
What did she do with you, Casey?
She sent me a whole bunch of messages trying to get me to take my video down when I put it up. A whole bunch. And she's like, I took down mine, so you need to take down yours. And I was like, no. Like, I simply replied, no, this is staying up. And it has stayed up for, God, almost 10 years now.
You
Yeah,
still have that
yeah.
personality type. You're like, I'm going to put it out there and it's going to stay out there no matter what.
Yeah.
Because at
Wherever.
that point, when she did all that, like, I was a whole different person. I already been through a ringer with her. I've been through a ringer with others.
My question is, how has your relationship with ALR changed the trajectory of your life, and what does healing look like for you? And I would say more like how you feel that it may have changed the trajectory of your life, because like you can't really know for sure, but like how has it impacted your decisions going forward and whatnot?
Definitely not to, I mean, don't let my kindness go too far and not to let myself be manipulated the way that I did with her. And also that it kind of has changed forever in a way that I worry about going out in public sometimes. Not that I don't mind being recognized, but I've always been that person who likes to stay in the background. I like to stand in the corner. I don't like any kind of attention on me whatsoever. I've always been that way. And now it's like, you know, anybody could know me. Like where I work, I could work with somebody who knows about all this and I wouldn't know it, you know? So it's kind of scary.
Wow, I didn't even think about it like that, but yeah, that makes
Mhm.
perfect sense.
And it's just like really embarrassing to be tied to her, you know?
God. So the way it's affected me, especially after the allegations, because it just like, okay, I dated someone who had I guess an ex or an ex-friend with benefits, whatnot, what have you, who really didn't like that she was dropping him because she was dating me, right? So he Googled my name and brought up all of this and sent it to her. And she knew about it in a way. Like I after all this came out, a lot of people started to recognize me, and it was surreal because the one I dated before would kind of throw this in my face in a way of like she didn't want me to talk about any of this that was going on. I didn't want to talk about any of it was going on either. Like, but she would really kind of throw it in my face of like, well, you don't understand how many messages I get from people because of that whole Amber situation you went through. It's like, excuse me, what messages are you getting? Why aren't you telling me? Two, I'm not even on the internet right now. And that was the time, that was like 2021, about that time that me and her dated. And it's like, I was like, excuse me, like, one, I'm not even on the internet. Two, why aren't you telling me? Like, why aren't you telling me at all? And she refused to tell me, but she would constantly, anytime like she would have issues, like anytime we would like either have an argument that would come up, you don't understand the shit I go through just to be with you. It's like, excuse me, like, you don't have to be with me. Like, and if you're getting these messages from random woman on the internet, or if you're getting some,
Did you ever
lot.
try and warn Jade about any of it?
I didn't know how. I didn't know what to do. I was just like, she's just gonna have to learn and find out for herself. But there was no way she didn't know. I swear that she had to have known who Amber was before reaching out or anything. She had to have. I think she knew what she was getting herself into. I just think she didn't know how bad it was going to be, and then realized that it wasn't worth it, and she bailed too.
She
Can
sure
I
did.
ask what were like one or two things maybe that kind of put that thought into your head that she knew?
I don't know too much. All I know is that at one point she did admit to Amber that she knew before, but she didn't say much about it. She didn't say how she knew or anything like that. So I'm saying if she's saying that she knew a little bit, then she definitely had to know everything.
So it was like a vibe kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I know that she had told Amber herself that she had commented or something. Like I know she was in one of the lives at one point, and that's how people picked up on her, like the not so jaded or whatever.
And I, honestly, actually, I could ask the same thing to Casey. Did you ever try and warn Crystal? Or did you tell
I
her
couldn't.
Crystal anything? You
I
couldn't?
couldn't. Amber had her so wrapped around, like I wasn't talking to Crystal. I didn't speak to her. All I knew is what Amber was talking to her about, and I knew that Amber was telling her a bunch of BS. I knew that. I mean, hell, she did that on Facebook for me to see. So, like, she
Yeah, I
wasn't.
saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, she wasn't shy about it. So it's like I couldn't do anything, and I feel so bad for Crystal because Crystal, no one deserved no one after me deserved any of it. No one, but I don't know who came
Including
before
you.
me.
No one including you.
I used to role play, back on MySpace. And I was role playing with somebody, and I didn't know she was looking over my shoulder, and I was like, doing a message back. And she got very upset because it got a little, the role play was like the characters were getting together, right? She got so mad. I didn't know she was reading over my shoulder. She took my phone from my hand and threw it against the wall, and it broke.
Oh,
Yep.
Wow.
Casey once told a story about his drawing and how she destroyed this beautiful drawing that
Oh,
he had been
yeah.
doing. Did she, because I know you're an artist too, did she ever do that when she was jealous of like the time you were
Ooh.
spending or anything like that to you as well? Because I know you're also an artist.
no, actually, she never really did anything like that. But there would be some times where she would be like, you could do better than that. And I'm just like, okay, thanks.
That's
Thanks, you
fucked.
jerk.
Wow, that's just as bad. Like, okay, it's not just as bad, but that sucks.
No, that's hurtful because she was always like making friends online that were at least 4 to 5, almost 8 years older than me, and they were always like couples.
What?
Oh, I never said this.
Wait, what?
What? No. What did you just say?
I said she was always making friends online, like Moco Space and whatnot, and they were at least like 4 to 5, sometimes 6 to 8 years older than me.
How old were you when this happened, Casey? If you don't mind me asking, you can tell me to shut the hell up. But how old were you when this happened?
When it started happening, 16, 17.
Oh my God.
And she was doing what? Making friends with couples on Mocha Space?
Yeah. Yeah. So one time the couple lived across the street from us. She used to get paid, or even currently still gets paid. All of the stuff that she's learned from getting, from then to now has gotten her to where she is now. So why would she? And I don't think she knows how to be any other way now. I really don't.
Yeah, I
It's
think you're
learned
probably
behavior
right.
that's been rewarded.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is for Casey and Beck. What is one thing you wish you could say to Amberlynn that you couldn't before, or that you feel she needs to hear come from you personally? And if you don't want to, that's totally fine. But like if you do, you know what I mean? Like if there's just like something you just wish you could say, be curious to know what that is.
I really don't know what I would say, because I know no matter what I say, it's just going to go right in one ear and out the other. So I would just be wasting my breath.
When I heard this question, I was like, oh dear God, this is not a question you need to be asking me, because there's so much I would love to
But
say.
you don't have to say it if you don't want to, but let's say you did say it hypothetically. Are you with Beck on this? Like, is there even any point? Do you think she'll ever absorb any of it?
No, she wouldn't. I am with Beck on that. You know what? That's the safety route. I'm with Beck. I can't say what I want to say,
You
because
grab that record.
what I want to say is
Would not be appropriate.
It would not be appropriate. It would not, because yeah, I am with Beck. Would I? And if I would say anything negative, which I don't want to, that I already know that would cause havoc. So I'm with Beck.
And her question is do you think at any point in time could you truly forgive Amber?
Hell no. Sorry.
Grace, Casey, you're supposed to have some grace about it.
I'm with Casey on this one.
Yeah, I get it.
I'm
I
with
get it.
Casey as well. I mean, I really tried to think about it, because I am one of those people where I do forgive. I do like to try to see the good in people, but it's like there's nothing there. There's nothing there. There's nothing good.
Like I would have to, but see, I didn't get a timer set. I had to count. Like when you would do that whole rub their back or whatever, it'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4. Like I had to count. And then like she would do it for me too, but she would count and it would be so much shorter and so much quicker. But if the TV was on and I was doing it and she felt like my hands weren't like grippy enough, like the pressure wasn't enough, she would get mad that I was distracted by the TV and turn it off.
She didn't get no timer set.
Okay, can I ask you a question? Both of you.
Yeah.
Whenever it was like reciprocated, right? Did you guys ever try to be like, okay, well, I did it for 5 minutes, so you have to do it for 5 minutes? And if you did, what was her response to that?
There was no asking her to do it the same amount of time, because she would just be like, but it doesn't do the same thing for you. This is helping me with my anxiety. This is my ASMR.
My God.
This is to Casey, and then we'll go into what it is. Did you ever have to play choosy?
Okay, I was told what choosy is, right? It was never called that with me, but yes.
So you had to play with her as well.
Yeah, but it wasn't long. It was just like a few things. Not like, as I've heard that people got it for hours and hours and hours, but it was never called choosy with me. It was just like, maybe like 5-10 minutes. It wasn't long.
You got lucky. She didn't have the money to buy thousands upon thousands of the same object and have you sift through it for hours.
I have to ask though, because I've always wanted to ask you this because on camera, she always, like back then, she would always give a hint. She's like, I'm having really bad anxiety. I'm really depressed. Did she do that straight to you as well? Like, Amber, why didn't you get up and do this? Oh, I'm just so depressed. Did she do that kind of thing? And then, the next minute she's completely fine, running through a field. Okay, that's a little waddling through a field with flowers and things like that. Or sorry, that was me.
I'm never gonna unsee that now.
Careful, you're gonna make Zachary Michael start to sway.
I'm one of those people that can visualize things in their head, and I'm never gonna forget that.
Okay, perfect. Picture the Sound of Music just with Amber.
Oh no.
With a Subway sandwich in her hand, except instead of a guitar. I'm sorry. I've been listening for 2 hours on what an awful human being she is, and the anger is rising.
Our nervy is starting to come unglued.
At this point.
Yeah, everybody's mad. Okay, so my question still remains. Did she ever try that with you? Did use what she was claiming to have at the time to get out of everything?
Yes, all the time. To help with anything. She was too depressed. She couldn't get out of the bed. There was this one time whenever I had a lot of groceries to carry in, and I had asked her to come out and help me. But she said that she thought she saw a ghost in the hallway and was too scared to come help me. So I had to carry it all in by myself. She didn't even believe in ghosts at that time.
It was all the calories she's ever eaten.
Yeah. That was the ghost of the calories.
What an excuse, man.
Casey, how about you? Did she ever try that with you as well? All the way back then, which is, I can't do that because of this. I can't do that because, this is this, that kind of thing?
No, but she started to have anxieties with me, but a part of me, I don't know how she is now with anxiety, if it's true or not, but it just started to be weird that when I would have really bad anxiety, suddenly she started to have really bad anxiety too.
That makes a lot of sense.
Because she didn't have anxiety or any of this while with me. She started to have anxiety with me, but she didn't have any, everything she talks about now, she never said any of that. She never had any of that.
And that's why, because there's another thing that she does is she'll go to Google and she'll look something up and be like, oh, I have that for sure. She convinced herself that she was having brain aneurysm anytime she had a sharp pain in her head. What? And I'm like, dude, I get those too. They're just ice pick headaches. Calm down. You're not dying.
No, I actually have 2 last questions I'd like to answer or ask if that's okay.
Okay.
Or no, actually just one more. Oh, no, it is 2 more. My bad, 2 more. All right. The one is, and I actually don't remember this part. I guess it was a list, Casey, that you had of things that you had to abide by to not piss off Amberlynn. And so somebody wanted you to kind of reiterate that. And I kind of do if you want to a little bit too, because I don't remember. I'm sorry. And also, Beck, was there anything where you kind of had a list where you couldn't do certain things by Amberlynn's rules so that it didn't tick her off?
That list, I don't even remember what was on it anymore. I blocked that stuff out. I remember it on a live. I remember it on a live that I showed it, but I can't remember it anymore because it's just it's so long ago, and I tried to not keep that in my head anymore because it followed me in a lot of relationships because I would mentally make lists of okay, this is how I have to be in order to be cared for and loved and respected. Not even respected, but so that list is that list has left my brain a long time ago, but it wasn't a good thing. No one should ever feel like they have to make a list to make someone happy or abide by someone or
Agreed.
be able to be with someone or just exist with someone. If you get to that point where you're even mentally making it, you gotta go.
Yeah,
right. I mean, I get what you mean by blocking it out. There's so much of the relationship that I've blocked out, things I've completely forgot about that I've had to recently dig back up and be like, oh my God, but I definitely know that she would want me to be on her side no matter what, even if she was absolutely in the wrong. And if I was on anybody else's side, it was hell to pay.
Yes.
How dare I think she was wrong? I'm supposed to be her girlfriend. I'm supposed to be on her side no matter what. And that was one of the rules, is like, you know, you have to be on my side no matter what, and no matter who it is.
Gross.